Hello everyone. In today's episode, we have a guest, which is Juan, and we're more than happy to talk about like where the market is going on because everything changed so fast now in today's market, and we are curious about his opinion on this. So, Juan, thank you so much for being our guest. How are you today?
All good, all good. Thank you, Vlad, for having me here. It's a pleasure, and yeah, I would love to walk through this landscape, hospitality landscape that we are experiencing right now, which is a crazy one. Definitely.
Wonderful, amazing. Juan, for those that maybe have no idea about you and also about the company, can you make a quick intro just to let them know who you are, what you guys are doing, and why should people give you money?
100%. My name is Juan Olaya. I'm the director of revenue strategy for Latam in Our Habitas. We're a global brand defined by our ethos that is luxury for the soul, or barefoot luxury, some people have called us as well. We are a highly experiential luxury hotel based in remote locations where people come to disconnect to reconnect.
Okay, great, awesome. Juan, I'm curious about something like what is something that you understand more about, the revenue, for example, because I think that for hotels, there are different sub niches like service apartments, hotel groups, luxury. So everyone it has then, let's say, different ways to approach the market. How do you see the part of the revenue on the luxury side? That most companies get this wrong or they are just, misunderstood.
Yeah, in luxury and especially in experiential luxury, where we are defined, there is sometimes a lot of talks about just occupancy and ADR and the classic RevPAR metrics. But we are hotels where the other departments like F&B, recreation, even transportation or wellness can take up to 50% of the total revenue for the properties. So the guest value is much more important than just occupancy and ADR. I think traditional hospitality has been highly focused just on rooms, and here the property is all this experience ecosystem.
Okay, awesome. I because I was talking with a lot of people, especially in the part of the restaurant, in part of the hotels and luxury. If you're entering from Doha, I think I had one. They mentioned the same. I think that everything changed so fast now, and it's so important now the experience that people might have for a luxury side. Like I think you need to set the right expectation for people. And to be honest, when I was looking at your website, I was like, okay, I want to travel there. To be honest, I love
Here's
this place.
but let me know.
Yes, it's amazing to be honest. Congrats for that. It looks amazing. And what is appreciate on that because there are a lot of hotels that look horrible to be honest. And compared with you and what I saw there, the view and everything, it's amazing. Congrats for that. That's amazing.
Thank you very much. We put a lot of love and effort into every single one of our properties. Our teams on site are just amazing, and their main goal is to really make you feel that you're having an unforgettable experience. It's not just you going to a room, just have a few days in a paradise area, but just to really have a transformational experience.
Yeah, amazing. That's awesome. And at your company, I saw that the revenue spans around experience, food, F&B as well, and community. What part of it it's hard, to actually optimize across on those streams that is for, let's say, far more complex than it actually looks like from the outside.
I think today I was reading an article from Huyo at Analytics, which is a really cool BI. We don't work with them, but I follow them a lot on social and LinkedIn because they are doing, I think, a great job. And specifically at this point, how difficult it is in this type of hotels where you have so many different revenue outlets to condensate the data and make informed decisions, taking into account all the different inputs to put out an output from a commercial standpoint that takes everything into consideration. And also this disconnection of these silos in terms of data translates also of these silos in terms of operational and overall direction, and also the commercial alignment that there is between the different teams. I'll give you an example. For example, right now we're working with operations, marketing, sales, and revenue to define the whole core commercial direction that we're going to take in the different months. And sometimes it's very difficult. Okay, we have this campaign that we want to do. How this translates into wellness, into F&B, into the experiences that we are offering, how we give some coherence on the overall brand expectation that the guests have on their booking. I think that's one of the biggest challenges. Sometimes it's not, it seems easy, but it's definitely not.
Awesome. That's great. And for example, being into this luxury, everyone, has this high expectation, like, okay, it must be expensive, right? And I think it's normal, because if you want a great experience and everything, it should be expensive, not cheap one, because you cannot deliver the same thing if it's cheaper, and and I think it's normal. Why does the pricing on high touch experience lead stay, so hard compared to, a one room night, let's say?
Yeah, I think this comes from the classical view when revenue managers started working in this field. Just you're just pricing a room. Everything else sometimes it just is an allowance or an allocation that is fixed. But now more and more we're trying to design this whole journey. For example, I'll give you an example of one of our not direct competitors, but a brand that I also look up to a lot, and it's in one of our destinations, Awasi. It's also a luxury experiential brand, but they're all inclusive. But all inclusive, when I ask you all inclusive, maybe you imagine the classic massive resort. You have all food and that you want to eat, all drinks, but they approach it in a different way. All inclusive means you have your private chef, you have your private excursions with a jeep that takes you to all the places, the transportation, all the different layers. For us, that works in the every single rate that we're selling. We're selling first a room, then also it comes with the breakfast included, so you have an F&B component, and also you have every single one of the community activities that are happening on site included as well.
Mhm.
I'll give you some examples. We do Pinto and Tinto, which we bring an artist, we share a few glasses of wine, and at the end, also one of the ethos of the company is about community, bringing people together from the communities that we're settling in, and also these travelers that are coming to stay with us and our staff. So it creates this kind of really cool dynamics. A yoga session in the morning, town healing experience, all these things are included in the rate that you're paying. So that makes it much more difficult because you don't have a direct translation or comparison in the concept. Because a lot of the competitors are just pricing a room and sometimes with a breakfast. But how do you price all this emotional value? How is perceived this in terms of a room? We know in our heads, okay, a suite in a high-end market, maybe it's 500 euros, the luxe room is 300, and a standard room is 150. And then the concept moves between those brackets. But how do you measure all these experiences? We don't have a bar to settle that. And that's what it makes it much more difficult, but also much more interesting. And you have much more flexibility on how to play with all these things.
Amazing. And what happened actually behind the scene when we set rates, for example, for destination property, where, let's say, the demand is driven by events and experience, as you mentioned,
Yeah,
like sharing the drinks and everything?
yeah, totally. So we have a very good example for this is Tulum. It's a destination and that is highly seasonal. We have a very strong high season and a very low and difficult low season, so to speak. Now, Mexico in general, depending on the areas in Mexico, it's highly seasonal as well. But here we notice it even more. And then those spike of the events, we became just to give a little bit of context about those people, about Tulum and those people that don't really know the destination. Pre-COVID, the destination started to rise. It became one of the epicenters of electronic music, along with Mykonos and Ibiza worldwide. And during COVID, everyone in the world just closed. But Tulum somehow remained more open than everyone else. And for a shorter time, it was much closed. So then it was this massive boom, almost no seasonality. And again, all this was influenced by all these events and everything that was happening there. Now demand patterns have shifted. The landscape hospitality of these other tertiary markets, like actually Bacalar, we have another hotel there, hot box, and all these other destinations nearby are getting more traction. Now Tulum is stabilizing more to previous areas. And when we're pricing for these high events, like the first 15 days of January, is where you have the Samna events, where you have the all these big day zero, all these massive DJs come and do these massive shows. And then you need to anticipate all this demand. You know that there's going to be more people wanting to come here and with a lot of disposable income than the rooms and Airbnbs that actually are in the destination. So I think it's a very delicate balance between reading your past data that will not guarantee you what is going to happen next year to set up the base of what you want to do in terms of pricing, and then monitoring with a different time scale that you would monitor your normal day-to-day business. For example, in high season, we have lead time of 60 to 90 days. But for this event period that is the highest of the year, sometimes we have 180 days of lead time. So the pickup curve is filling up much faster. So it can happen two things. When you overprice because you think, yeah, it's going to be great, we're going to be selling rooms much higher than last year, and then people don't want to pay that price, then you have to drop your price as the lead time approaches, but the people are not buying because they already made plans for New Year's. On the other hand, if you underprice heavily, then you fill up super fast and you're done. And the
Yeah.
biggest time of the year that brings you a big chunk of the most important month of the year, it's gone and you have no way to compensate for that in any other month. So it's a very complex balance.
Awesome. I have a curiosity, like how do you balance, being as well or relying on third party, but also for direct bookings? I think that everyone is chasing this part to get, direct bookings and everything, but I think it's hard until you have a brand because people are not aware where you are. They're not Google it. I don't know exactly the name of the hotel or the resort. I think that third party is great because easier for people to connect with you or something like that. But at the same time, there are commissions. So yeah, it's like instead of I don't know paying for marketing, you pay third party. What's your take on this? Do you wish to just curious, do you wish to have more direct bookings or it's better to have from third party?
I think you need to find the right mix for your property. In my opinion, you shouldn't over rely in just one channel because if something happens to your channel, then you're done. So a healthy mix that balances, in my opinion, a bit better direct because at the end of the day, it's a more profitable channel. It has a longer value spent per client, someone that books through your website that you control the whole narrative from discovery to post checkout, you have a higher chance that that person becomes a brand ambassador. Also for us as a global chain, we want people that maybe went to Alula in Saudi Arabia and love the brand. If they're eventually, because there are people that have a high disposable income and they're finding different exotic places all over the world to travel every year, maybe they end up also traveling to or to Bacalar in the future. So someone booking through Booking, sometimes what they're just and just to put an example, which is one of the biggest channels, or Expedia, they're trying to get as much loyalty as possible to that channel because that channel is trying to capture them in their database and give them incentives to keep on booking with them, like future discounts, credit in stays, you name it. No, and these OTAs are growing bigger and bigger. So capturing this guest will have a longer value and a higher value, most likely for us. So right guess
Yeah.
mix is that would be the answer, but favoring the direction.
Okay, awesome. I think it's a mix as you mentioned. Like you cannot rely just in one. What if tomorrow dies that channel? I don't know, for some reason. You just put all the effort in that one and yeah, makes sense. And how do you balance, to protect the luxury, the brand overall, against the pressure to maximize, occupancy and everything? Because I think that when you sell, let's say, high ticket or you sell something luxury, people could have like high expectations. Like they're expecting, okay, we pay this money, we need to expect. How do you balance this one to meet as well the expectation of the client? Because to be honest, sometimes you cannot meet exactly their expectation. I don't know what they have in mind or something. It's normal. It's not for everyone. That's the point. But in most cases, how do you balance this?
So working very heavily with the operational teams and the finance department as well, understanding what are our margins in each one of the departments and how much, especially in the periods of high demand where we can allow to yield higher prices, our margin also increases, definitely. And then instead of just leaving everything as it is and giving exactly the same kind of service, what can we give that is a little bit extra for that person to feel that personalized touch? I think that's something that is super important and communicate also that front desk is aware when guests I put you an example in Tulum. Someone in low season can book a room for $200 in this high period of the beginning of January. So how do you control, as you were saying, the expectation of someone that is paying 1,000 euros? First, who is paying 1,000 euros to go to Tulum the first 15 days of January knows that the value of these 1,000 euros is not only the objective value of the room, but also the fact that they can be in Tulum in this period of time to attend to that event. So that is a part of the price. But on top of that, we want to guarantee that someone that is coming is blown away by the experience that they're having with us. So working alongside and having a good communication between ops and revenue is fundamental to guarantee that these expectations are met when they arrive.
Great. And what is one belief about, the part of the revenue management that most other directors in the luxury will disagree with you?
I think that we should change the name to the department, and we should change the name to, in my opinion, where I see we're shifting and we should shift is to, instead of talking about revenue, we should be talking more about profit. At the end of the day, if I do my job great and I bring a lot of, give you a plain example, I prefer to sell instead of 1 million, having a high acquisition cost, selling 800,000 and having a lower acquisition cost. Because at the end of the day, that flow through in that department and the overall GOP of the hotel in that month is going to be higher. So the stakeholders, the owners, the property, everyone, when everything goes down to that GOP level and that EBITDA level, the numbers will look better. So if I am the one making the decision of how that top revenue is going to be filtering down until the bottom of the P&L, and I'm making wrong decisions without thinking of the impact that that's going to have on profitability, I'm missing out a massive part of the impact that I can cause in the business. And I think
Yeah.
us as revenue managers should shift our attention to that. And not only revenue managing associated rooms, like, yeah, I'm a revenue manager, I just put prices on rooms. That's an oversimplification of the role that I think we should have. Instead of revenue manager, profit managers, and instead of only profit managers, total profit managers. The decisions that I can make from a profitability and revenue perspective should impact, as we were talking about before, because these type of hotels rely heavily on other departments, wellness, recreation, F&B, and there's so many things that we can learn from the revenue strategies that we apply in rooms that we could and should be doing in other departments. As it happened 30 years ago, when the airline industry was doing these more advanced dynamic pricing techniques and hotels were still pricing flat across the year. Now, still some hotels might do it, but most hotels are dynamic pricing. Why are we not dynamic pricing also in restaurants? Why are not dynamic pricing also in wellness? Why we're not thinking about how much each client is willing to pay in different moments of the year, in different moment of the day, even depending on the guest journey, collect all that data to make more informed decisions and not be so restrained on the way we think about how we can price.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like a shift of the department, or at least the name of the department, because there are more responsibilities out there, especially for the profit
Exactly.
margins and everything.
The
Okay.
essence, the name, I don't care about the name. It's more about to shape the rigid mental structures of what the business should be and how it could possibly be.
Okay. That's great. I'm curious about another point. Like, there is a lot of AI noise now within the market. Everyone is just trying to implement AI, AI, AI. Where do you think the AI could have, I don't know, a huge impact for a company like yours into the luxury part of the hotels? Not just nice to have, like everyone's just trying to implement things that are nice to have, but like need to have. Like, this is where, I don't know, AI could help, I don't know, operational perspective for guests to check in, check out, something like that. Where have you saw, or where do you think could be something in the next, I don't know, few years from now that AI can actually change the industry a little bit because of these changes?
So I think that there is this talk or this try within AI trying to pitch against each other, humans versus AI. And I see it in a different way. I've been going down the rabbit hole of AI for the past few months. I started to vibe code myself within Claude for more personal uses. And I've been using AI in some of my tools within the business. And I see there is such a tremendous edge and opportunity to work, especially in some things that us humans are not that good at. And also, I don't know many people that actually enjoy doing these things. Like I don't know many people that tell me, wow, my day today was amazing. I downloaded 10 Excel sheets. I was drilling down all this data one by one cell by one cell, copy pasting all these formulas into one document to another document and doing every single thing every single day. I don't know anyone, honestly, that told me that enjoyed that. But I know a lot of people that enjoy doing the brand, the storytelling, the strategy, thinking about how we can connect more with these people that want to come to stay with us, how we can improve all these things. So I think AI could, should, and most likely will be used for data processing, optimization, automation of manual processing, and especially taking big chunks of data. Our brain does not work like that. Our brain, it's for us with scale, it's very difficult to narrow it down to see patterns. But AI is great at that. What AI might be lacking is that first experience on the sector, ability to have this holistic view of what can interact better with the clients that we want in our businesses,
Mhm.
and that real human side input that we can put there. So I think that the big edge, competitive edge, would be how we translate this data that AI is helping us to organize, harvest, automate into an experience design for a much better and optimized product, and how eventually this will result into a better revenue as well.
Awesome. Okay. So it's more like operational perspective, just to not stay manual doing the things that are, taking the most
Yeah,
of the time.
and it aligns with what I was saying before. I think our role, it was heavily based on the analysis layer of the business, and we're going to shift more to product and brand strategy. From analysis, we're going to shift more to strategy, because most of the data collection that then leads to an analysis, and after we do this, we have this
Mhm.
strategy. These first two layers will be heavily influenced by the automations that we can do with AI. Save us a lot of time, so we can spend more time coming up with great, innovative, amazing strategies.
Okay, great. And how much of your strategy now get, disrupted by, seasonality, like winter, summer, everything, new property opens and demands, destination demand as well? It's because sometimes you cannot have control of all those. So how do you balance these overall?
It's complex, and especially in the destinations that we develop our hotels are usually secondary, even tertiary destinations, very exotic, remote, hard to get, which is also part of the appeal. But then, since there's not so much demand, like in a Paris, Madrid, New York, you name it, you cannot predict that much or forecast with that much accuracy that further in time. And if there's a massive event, that's going to impact heavily. I'll put you another example with Tulum. We have this natural phenomenon, which is sargassum. I don't know if you heard about it, but it's this seaweed that comes to the sea. No, so depending on the year, we had years where this seaweed was minimal. Still, we do a great job on the operational side. We clean it every day. The beach looks pristine and amazing most of the time. But in the morning, it shows up like that because it's a natural phenomenon that we cannot control. We cannot change the conditions of the sea, and sometimes shows up earlier, sometimes shows up later. And that if there's a word of mouth that this season there's more sargassum, people investigate about it, maybe they choose to go to Bacalar instead, that is a lagoon and it's not affected by this. And by the way, this is happening all over in the summer in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, for example. Not every single place, but most of the places. So when something like this happens, again, coming back to one of the things I was mentioning before, being very, very, very on top of your pace and pick a curve. Don't take assumptions that because something happened last year is going to happen this year. Demand
Yeah.
should, like forecasting, I love to have a robust past data, and data is key. How clean your data is so you can rely on it. But that's just the first, that's the foundation. That's just one outlook to look at. But then if past data doesn't match with your window this year, you need to be able to catch that fast to implement tactics and actions even faster.
Yeah. What's more important for your audience, the view of the locations or the way that it's inside of the hotel or the resort in a way that's to feel like more space and everything? Because everyone has this debate, like I love the view, but sometimes the interior of that room or everything is not look the same.
I think people like, I'll give you, we've been talking a lot about Tulum, and I love that property. The rooms are great, but the fact that, for example, our ocean fronts, the fact that you're just laying in your bed and you look to your right and you have the view of the beautiful Caribbean Sea, that cannot be matched, in my opinion, with any fancy marble floors or gold faucets in any sink. Like people, luxury doesn't look like that anymore in a lot of these luxury brands. I'll give you an example, a man, no, that is in a different level. They're also their edge. It is this silence, coming to a place where you can really come back to your inner self. And the type of luxury is not ostentatious. It's not like something, a lot of bling bling, a lot of gold, a lot of like this old school 19th century luxury that we would imagine in this Ritz Carlton in Paris in the early 20th century. That's no longer what luxury looks like for a lot of brands. For others, maybe, but for the people that are coming to us, they're not looking for the gold faucet. They're looking for the beautiful view or being surrounded, hearing the monkeys in the middle of the jungle.
Yeah, I can agree with you. I'm the same person. Awesome. What do you think is the biggest source of friction now from your revenue team that feels day to day that BS never see?
The biggest friction, I think, not exactly friction, but a challenge of how to incorporate these AI and automating processes into our daily workflows. I think
Yeah.
we are setting up like an AI committee within the company, and I'm
Mhm.
already starting to work with the teams on how we can best deploy all of this into our normal daily workflows. And especially the biggest challenge is not the same like you're maybe a self-employed person, content creator, you set up your workflows, you have a small team, 1, 2, 3 people maybe help you, but it's easy to have easy, so to speak, to have the same workflows and to teach them and to go through it. When you have a company of corporate with more than 20, 50 people, things start to get much more complex. And at the end of the day, everyone is just hassling and grinding and trying to save the day, and do the best that they can with the tools that they have. But it's very important that companies start to think of this as a global impact that we're going to have in the industry, and also as a corporate decision that needs to be made in a cohesive and coherent way on how to best deploy this.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. And if you could have like a magic wand like Harry Potter to have a wish, what wish would you have to eliminate one manual revenue or forecast workflow tomorrow?
Oof. I think I would. I mean, I've done that already. I have that magic one. It's called Flyer BI. Shout out to them. The team are amazing, and we have a very strong partnership with them in Edismore. And I was so happy when we implemented it. I love data. I love to have clarity of this data. And again, one of the frictions talking about the past question is this: how fragmented the data from the different departments is. And since we got this BI tool, this thing have improved a lot. I'll give you an example. Before I was doing the classic pickup report, building everything up and to have like and the on the books report, how much we're doing, how much we could be capped in the last day or the last week, which segments, what's on up. So what I did with that magic wand and also helped by the built-in AI tools that they have, prompt a few ideas, start working manually with the workflows that they have. And now the only thing that I need to do for my revenue call, I have like a Google group in my Google Chrome tab that is called Latam Weekly. I open it and automatically 10 different sheets within Chrome open with 10 different dashboards that automatically give me real data, live data. So that's been a massive, massive, massive game changer for my day to day. I still have a few other automated or possibly automated workflows that I would like to implement, but I'm not still quite there yet, especially with what I was talking before. When in a system, you don't have all the data being pulled in inside. I want to implement in a different report that I have to build, sending myself or automating the report to be sent to my inbox. This Power BI automate tool within Microsoft pull that different Excel sheets and put all the data together in another one that I can read directly. And then I can work around with it. But a lot of this manual data that I'm still not entirely sure how I would do that, but I know it's possible. And that would be the next thing that I would like to do.
Okay, awesome. Great. Juan, thank you so much for everything you shared with us. Where people can find more about you and also about the company.
Yeah. Our Habitas.com, Habitas with an H and with an S. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us also on LinkedIn. You can find us on our website and myself, Juan Olaya, as well on LinkedIn. And I would be super happy to welcome all of you in our amazing hotels. We have, as we mentioned, a few destinations here. We also have some destinations in Africa, in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Chile, and Mexico, and much more in the pipeline. So yeah, excited to have you all there.
Wonderful. Awesome. Juan, thank you so much for everything you shared with us in today's episode. I'm going to let for you guys in the description all the links as well to Juan, LinkedIn profile, the website, everything that you need in order to get in touch with him. So awesome. Thank you so much, Juan. I appreciate the time and thank you for the podcast.
Likewise, thank you.
Thanks.